All right, let's go over these two very basic interview questions that one of my students actually got. Let's do question one. How many vowels are there if they give you a string? Well, first of all, let's do, we can do const vowels. And instead of writing down the whole array, we can just do this. And then A-E-I-O-U, like that. And that would work as well. Okay, so now how do we count the vowels? We can do let count. We start at 0. And always remember, if it's the count you want, you got to return it in case you forget. Now, I think the easiest way is a for of loop. For const, I'll call this letter of the string that we're iterating through. And then we can do if, if vowels, which is an array, dot includes the letter, then our count will go up by 1, like that. Right? So on the right, if I do count vowels, and let's pass in A, B, and an E. Let's see what we get. We get 3. Yep. Okay. But what about the harder version, where we have to return an object that shows how many of each vowel? Yeah. But you can actually do this. You don't need this now. You can actually do this with reduce. Okay? So once again, I'll do const, and I'll call this final for final answer. I'm going to convert the string into an array. Then I can use reduce on it. Reduce takes in the accumulator and the next value, which I will call letter, right? Open curly braces. But here's the important part. Reduce the second argument. We want an object, right? So I will put an object. But you don't have to put an empty object. This is where a lot of people get confused, right? You can actually just fill in the vowel counts right now. So A, 0, E, 0, I, 0, O, 0, and U, 0. And this will make it a lot easier inside of here. Okay, so inside of reduce, what are we actually doing? Well, as we're looping, we're actually going to check if what? So how do we get an array out of all the keys in this object? So if acc, because accumulator refers to the second argument right here on the first loop. So if acc, let me see, actually we can do if object dot keys, this is way better, and we pass in acc, we're going to get an array with all the vowels. Cool, right? So if this dot includes the letter, what are we going to do? Well, since this is already prepended with the letters, you can just do accumulator at letter plus plus, like that. Okay, so on the right, whoops, now what did I forget? Right? Whenever you use reduce, you must return the accumulator. And then, since everything is assigned to final, you must return final. Cool, right? But one more thing. I wanted that if it's 0, it shouldn't even be here. So right now, it should just say 2 and 1. But how can we do that? Well, we can actually do that because reduce, like map, like filter, and all that crap, also takes in an index and also takes in the array that we're looping over. Okay, and we actually need this array because we don't have a variable that we can refer it to, right? Okay, so now we're going to do an if. So if the index is equal to the array.length minus 1, so all the code that's going to go in here will be responsible for looping through this accumulator, and it's going to look for values with 0, and then it's going to delete that key value pair because we don't want it. And at the same time, it's going to count all of our current vowels, right? So we can do let count is equal to 0. And then we can do a for in loop. So for, let's do that key in accumulator. And yes, you can do that. And then now, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to check if what? If accumulator at key does not exist. Okay. Now, I should have said that. This is checking if it's falsy. And 0 is a falsy value. Okay, so if it's falsy, let's just use delete accumulator at key. All right. Now else what are we going to do? We're going to do the count plus equals whatever value that's in accumulator at key, right? So we're going to check, hey, if it's 0, delete it. If it's not 0, add whatever quantity it has to our count so we know how many vowels there are in total, right? And I think that's actually all we need. Yep, right here. And how do we add in the count? So let's see. So after this for loop, you can do something like accumulator at, remember you have to do string count, will be equal to count. Let's call this total vowels, like that. Okay, let's see if it works. See, 3 and 2, our total vowels is 5. 1 and 2, our total vowels are 3. Cool, right?